All right. I have had this kind of issue for quite a while now, having my true enlightenment experience that most people just, when they hear that, they go like, oh, what the hell is this guy talking about? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He just thinks he's whatever. I never looked into any of this stuff. I never studied any of it. I never read any books. I had it happen, and it's real. And that's what I think scares people because I see it and I feel it in them that they're scared when someone talks about stuff that they never could have imagined, but they see that it's real. Now, I don't have any specific topic that I want to talk about, but I figured the best thing for me to do, since I do have answers, but those answers need a question in order for them to apply. So I figured, why not just talk and let myself spill whatever comes out? So let me think. Today I saw a sign that said, we've upgraded to credit. Ooh, upgraded to credit. So in a world where money means nothing but fake value, now they've upgraded to credit because, what is credit? If you give somebody credit, like I really give them credit for that. That means that you feel that they're trustworthy in that situation. So now anyone who can steal enough or take enough or enforce some power onto something enough to get credit in a money fashion. We can have thieves, no good evildoers, shitty people, maniacal madmen who have plenty of credit because they invented it and they can use that credit for whatever. Now, if you really think about it, the only thing that is a true credential is truth. Because in the long run, when this life is said and done, each one of us is going to die. No matter what we do to preserve our life, we're not going to do anything other than take our experiences with us. Our higher power is true. Because think about this, if you don't have a spirit, if you don't think you have a spirit, then when you die and your body's laying there lifeless, yeah, your cells and all that kind of stuff is living in its own way. But the spirit that was operating your body inside this vehicle, just like you get inside a car and it's made of all kinds of parts, and all those parts actually could be broken down into the minerals that they were melted into plastic or melted into metal or steel, and all those things came from smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller bits. Now, in the same way, when you die, you're just a lifeless body laying there, just lifeless. That's not what you are right now. If you don't have a spirit, what's animating you? What's giving you the ability to operate this vehicle? You are the true I, that is all things. That is what's operating your vehicle. If you don't believe in spirit, you've just had it spirited out of you. That's all. Somebody else told you some stuff and you want to believe them, or else it felt right with you and you don't want to look into it. Something of that matter. So what I'm getting at is that this whole idea of giving people credit in a life where money, if you're not using the only thing valuable, which is your actions, your efforts, your words that you speak to others, your intentions that you have towards the world, if you're not using those for a good thing, your credit is shit. It means nothing. I mean, if it's not, if it is something, then what is it? It's the way that you can manipulate others to get them to do what you want. Is it, I have this money I can give you. I've got a credit. I can go charge something for you, or I can order something for you, or I'm good for it because I got this magic card that I've gotten credit for. I had to work whatever job I was given or that I applied to, or I had to do whatever dirty deeds to get this money. Most of these things that we get paid for this day and age are not good things. I'm telling you, I'm trying to find, since I got to put this out here now. Why not? I've been trying to, if I have to do some kind of stupid job in order to get government clearance to live and be able to survive in this world, then I've been trying to find a job that I can morally agree with. Instead of a place where it's serving dead animals or you're in any way, I don't want to work somewhere where I'm getting stolen from by the government. Just like in the easiest example, many people have said things like this. If I can't just walk up to you and say, you've got to give me $1 out of your check every week, and you'd be like, fuck you, dude, what are you talking about? You ain't going to take $1 of my money. Why is it that you agree to somebody else doing it? Because it's always been done that way? What else has always been done that way that we've changed? Was internet always done that way? Was were homes always built like this? Was there always they're still slaves now. We are all still slaves to a system, but we've loosened up some of that slavery for this kind of people or that race of people. Nothing against any of them. Of course, they're going through a spiritual journey right now that they're going to really strongly hold personal. I'm not a white guy. I'm not an American. I'm not even an earthling. I'm not even a human being. I'm being a human being. Literally, human being is a here H. Look what H is. It's the letter 8, and the letter A activates. The letter A plus the letter 7, or the number 7, which is G, 1 plus 7, which generating active, is here. It's literally shapes and sounds and math and vibration that add up. That's everything that is happening here. Not the only thing. It's everything that's happening here. Because the only thing would be one thing happening. But this one thing takes on many parts. And those many parts operate through vibrations, sounds, thoughts even. Because trees don't have to make a sound. Trees don't have to do anything. But they feel. They emote in their own way. And I know, because as silly as it may sound, I know what the life of a tree is like. I know what the life of a bug is like. I know what happens when you die and your body dissipates into many billions of pieces and fragments, and where those pieces go and what happens to them, because each one holds its own mineral and water memory, elemental memory, and that water goes into things and it holds little tiny pieces of memory in its own way. It's not like, hey, it knows all Dan Alexander's thoughts. It knows all this guy, Jack Johnson. It knows all his thoughts. And this little dot of water that went into this dot of dirt is going to someday grow into Dan. That's not how it works. But it does hold memory. It holds emotions. It holds fabrics of light, of energy that is just so hard for people to even comprehend in the normal everyday world. There's no point in trying to explain it. And no point to try to say what it's like to live life from the eyes of a caterpillar or the eyes of a mosquito or something like that, because a mosquito doesn't necessarily want to drink your blood, but it's a mosquito. It's a manifest, ongoing, subject on cue as a unit, identified, mosquito, plus ongoing bottom line expression. And what's it doing? It's sucking out of your blood because mosquito. It's got the QUI is a Q unit identified. So it's going to go to a manifested ongoing Q unit identified, and it's going to plus ongoing express. It's going to suck from. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it sounds silly, but it's not. And when I say the word silly just means you can see right through what I'm saying as if it's obvious. When someone says, don't be silly, that basically means I'm vitally identifying the idea of seeing right through what you're saying, like a sill, a window sill. Silly. That's what words mean. I speak words the way they are meant, the way they actually happen, what they add up to, and what the mind means by words. That's what I say. I speak the truth. I can't lie, because when I lie, it messes up my life all around me, even worse than the way it's happening now. Because right now I'm not lying, and I'm confronted with people who are lying to themselves or have been taught to lie to themselves and don't even know that they are. And if they hear the truth, right now in the world, me, the name Daniel, opposite of denial, because A is one side activating over here, and E is the other side expressing over here. Those opposites, Daniel and denial, are opposite things. Because I'm Daniel, and I have been to the other side and understand what my purpose specifically as my name on this planet, in this universe, means. And why would I deviate from being the truth when Daniel means truth? And not just my first name. If you go into everything, I could show you that this is something not even written in the stars. It was written before the stars were written or made. I'm not saying this because I think it's impressive. I'm saying it because it's true. Now, I want to go into a couple words here because it's already written down here, and I want to show you, because while we're doing this, if this is backwards, then hell, I don't know what to say. I'll have to try to turn it around. But if the words that you see here just seem like normal words, push, pull, car, card, cart, and geometry, okay? I had these down because I wanted to show where things are completely different. That's why when people say, like, you know, take this Latin root word and say, government means govern your mind because mentis means mind in this language over here. Now, I get that, but does the word car always mean car when it appears in a word? No, because now add a D to it. It's a concept. The reason that I break things down the way I do, specifically in those words, is because it applies to everything. Everything. There's not one thing that this won't apply to. You can try to, not prove me wrong. If that's what motivates you, then fine. But you can actually look into this and apply it and try to see where it fails, and it doesn't. Because I know how this universe was created. And not just this one. I know how existence was created. And trying to put that into words for people is the most difficult thing that anyone could do. I don't care how difficult you think your life is. I'm not worried about the fact that this is difficult. It's just something that I have to take on because there's nothing else here for me that's going to satisfy me when I've seen and experienced the things that I've seen and experienced. If you had been through every scenario possible, let's just say you've been through tons of crazy wild things, and people are like, hey man, let's go watch this TV show, and you're like, my life is way more exciting than your TV show. I'm sorry that you're so bored with your life because you're forced to work a job that you want to escape by getting drunk and watching a TV show. All you're doing is toxifying yourself even more. And people don't want to hear that because they don't want to go, shit, maybe I need to change a little bit. Maybe I need to stop being so toxic to myself. And maybe I should stop hating myself so much because if I loved myself, I wouldn't be doing those things. But then you go through this course of, oh man, if I don't want to eat animals anymore, fuck that, man. If I stop eating animals, I won't have the taste pleasure that I used to have. Not like you couldn't add those same seasonings and things to the other great foods there are out there that aren't dead animals, but you have this idea set in your head that this is my favorite food and this is my favorite thing and that's my favorite show. And someone says, well, that food's bad for you. That thing that you're doing is harmful. That show is not affecting your mind in a good way. Well, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, with that attitude, I can tell that I know what I'm talking about because you wouldn't just jump to that because someone's offering you assistance and trying to help you. Instead, you get mad because you don't like yourself. You don't like what you yourself, either who you are, or you don't like what you yourself have let yourself become or be forced into doing. Now, nobody wants to hear that. Believe me, I know. I didn't want to hear that from myself. When I had seen and met and merged with that higher power, I had to take time to find my ego again. Because Dan Alexander meant nothing to me. Nothing at all. Now, isn't that a weird thing to say when I do love who I am? I do love myself. I do love who Dan Alexander has become. But that's not because I did anything fascinating to make the world, notice me. I love who I am because I realize exactly why every being on this planet is doing what they're doing. And I can explain that to everybody. I have that ability. But no one's letting me do it because then all of a sudden their opinion comes in the way or what they think they know for sure. But when I say, there's truth that's going on out there in the world, that can be bought and paid for. That can be changed. 100 years from now, these stories aren't going to be word for word, action for action. Do you think that your experience right now is going to be something that you remember tomorrow? Action per action, every second, everything you said, every movement you made. You're like, I moved my shoulder like this to the left one time, and I moved my shoulder like this at another time. No, of course you didn't, because that's not how it works. The universe saves all that stuff. Sort of garbage. It's the cachet that needs to be cleared every once in a while. And right now in the world, we're living in a world that needs its cachet cleared. We need to clear it all because it's horrible. What we're doing to ourselves, the planet, each other, animals, everybody, and everything. There are not very many people out there that are doing good right now. Like I put this video out the other day asking for money because yes, I freaking hate money because of what it's become. Not because what it could have done. Guess what? It's not doing that. And it's not going to get around to doing that. Because there's people in place right now. And people learning from those people in place that the generations to come are going to follow right after. Where money is being used in manipulative and horrible ways. I don't care how many people are doing good with the money they have. The people that have more are doing way worse. So go ahead and do all the good you can, thinking that money gave it to you. Because you qualified, jumped through enough hoops, asked for the right kind of grant, said it all legally in a little document that you turned over to this guy and said, hey, buddy, can you please give me some money so I can pursue this avenue? And they're like, sure. Well, let's see. Let's check out your backstory. Well, sure, we'll do that because we've noticed that you can pay things back. And without you knowing, we're going to hike the interest on that loan. Or maybe you'll get a grant because they're going to benefit off of it somehow. They're going to completely. There's nothing that the government or the higher ups or the bank people are doing that has you in their best interest. It's only for capital. It's only for the ability to increase their revenue. And if you don't like the sound of that, that's not my fault. It's because that's what's going on in the world around us. I do hate money. Can't stand it. Can't stand what it's become. There is no power to money. There's nothing good about money. I asked for people to donate because at this point in time, we live in a maniacal world that's thriving off of money. And what in the hell could I possibly do sitting here, reaching out as much as I can from the web's, things that people do not have freedom of speech on. It's all being censored. Everywhere I reach out to, I get algorithms back. I've had tons of death threats. And once that all stopped, all I notice is nothing gets out to anybody. No views on anything. And it's like, I don't care. I'm not trying to ask anybody to check out my stuff and like me. No, the message is important. I was going to go into doing some board things here, but I realized that that's playing backwards. So maybe while I'm playing it, I'll flip it around during that little part and then flip it back. Either way, I put that video out and somebody came on and said, so you don't like money and you think that people that are cooperating, willingly with the money system are bad, yet you're asking for money. Makes a lot of sense. I'm like, did you by any chance listen to the video I had? Have you heard anything about what I've said? Or are you just a troll who's under the bridge waiting to sneak out and say something stupid to people who are more intelligent than you? This person happened to be somebody who had like pop, lock, and drop it videos and whatever. They can do whatever they want. Because when somebody puts a comment like that on my thing, I go over to them to see if they're an intelligent person who has intelligence to, be recommended from them of, But no, of course not. It's some peon. No offense. They're allowed to be a peon. I love peons too. Just don't want to associate with them because they're not going to help anybody move forward. So this person said that, and I'm looking at him thinking, did you even hear what I said in my video? The last thing I want to do is to ask anybody for money. But I'm being threatened to be put in jail again by the criminal system who has no interest in the fact that I can teach humanity. Like, what? There's tons of value in that. More value than every dollar. More value than every bullshit thing that's going on in the world. There's much more value in teaching the universal patterns to everything and everyone that lives here so that we can actually thrive as humanity, if that's what we want to be. If you're in a body, whether you call yourself a human or not, or Homo sapien, whatever, if you're walking and talking, guess what? You're here. So you might as well call it something and embrace it and try to do the best you can as it. And if you don't want to do that, then what are you doing here? Why are you wasting your time? If you don't want to be here, don't be here. Nobody's saying you have to stay. You're going to come back anyway, but maybe you'll have a different change. Maybe you'll have something better. And if you have enough consciousness when you leave, you'll be able to bring something new next time. Because it won't be in this time frame. I'm telling you right now, not often do you die and come back in the same time frame. You can go to different planets. You can go to different universes. You can go to places where there are no words. You can go to places where you lived as a rich person in this life. You lived as a poor person in this life. In this life, you came in as a child because you made a pact on the other side with a spiritual being to teach them on loss so that they went through a life. And once they got to a certain age, that you became their child and died shortly after birth or died in a horrible accident or were kidnapped because people need certain things in order to go through so they can come out better. I'm not saying it's fun, but right now in this world, the only thing happening to me, there's nobody who's the bad guy. There's no villain out there. There's a group of horrible, and there's a group of those who don't have enough courage to deal with the horrible. Nothing wrong with either of them. They're playing their parts, and their names call it all out. I could show you all this. But in order to stand up to this group, who is considered this group, or convinced this group, to cooperate with the ideas of money being the value holder, so that we can have trade and commerce and all these silly things that we could do completely without money, those people have to implode, have to be gone. Not the people themselves, their lives or their livelihoods, but what they're doing to others, what they're doing to this planet. That needs to be addressed. If it's not, on a much more massive scale, addressed soon, there will not be much time left. I do know what's going to happen next. I'm not going to expose it and get myself killed, because what's the point trying to put it online right now? All it's going to do is get taken down. My mom might see it. Somebody else might see it, and they'll just disagree because it's a troll or somebody who's actually with one of those kind of groups that will find people like me. I am being watched by higher ups. I've had enough threats, I've had enough warnings, I've had enough emails, all this kind of stuff of threatening me to shut up, that I have to keep talking out about it. I'm not afraid to die at all. I'm nothing but brave. But at this point in time, in this world, bravery is not looked at as a good manly thing. This is a world that's trying to get us all feminized so that women are in power, which I have nothing wrong with any sex, any gender, whatever. But the idea of the feminine being the powerful is supposed to be the feminine is the nurturing, and the male is the action that just coincides with it, and it works out to a perfect balance. Instead, we're so out of balance, having boss bitches and having dudes that if a guy shows any anger or aggression in any form, I'm not saying to be some asshole who loses his cool and just freaks out on everything and just wants to get in fights. That's not a man. That's an asshole. What a man is somebody who sees something that needs to be done and is brave enough to do it and to perform that action, do that job. Not just, I'm a good worker, I'm a good lug. That's not what you want to be. Nobody wants that. Deep down, I know that nobody wants to just be somebody's push around lug. But most of us, almost all of us, are that. Somebody's higher up than you in some invisible scale, some invisible mountain you're trying to climb. I've been to the top of the mountain. I've been to the bottom of the mountain. I've been below them and I've been above them. Whoopie-doo. What I'm trying to teach you is something that you will take with you every lifetime after this. This earth may not see the repercussions of a true enlightened person teaching others, because even the ones that may have existed, they have, but they weren't nearly as able to teach what I'm trying to teach. I'm not saying this because I think so. I'm saying this because I know so. I've seen what happens when people actually listen, and I know what's going to happen if people don't. I've been to both futures in all the different aspects of them too. And as silly as that may sound, if you just pay attention to what I'm saying, I try not to just spiel onto some big shit that sounds stupid to people, because, you can hear some guru talking about Shiva and all these things, and I know exactly what those things are, and I know those beings. I've been them. In fact, right now, part of us all is those. You're just not it right now because you think you're your name, or you were at least given your name, and even if you say, I'm not my name, I'm not my body, you still happen to be here in that mental body and that physical body. You happen to be here. Unless you're not here, and you happen to be a chip-implanted robot, and just don't know it because you've been so shot up with vaccines and fake things like that. I'm not trying to say anything negative, I'm sorry. There are some vaccines that have done some good, but we could have done better just by becoming immune to the toxins around us. Every toxin that has ever been faced has either been man-made or it has been nature-made, because we were doing something wrong as the beings here that weren't harmonizing with nature. Anytime there's any kind of breakout, nature wants that to happen. Not the man-made ones, but the natural ones. The natural disasters are happening because of how the whole is treating nature. Unfortunately, innocent people get hurt in the process of that. But nobody's innocent. In a sense, everybody is. But in a bigger sense, nobody is. You came here to do exactly what you're doing. You might be like, I like if I die tomorrow, I wouldn't have wanted to die tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, when you die, you feel that this was not that big of a deal, but you're not here to be as bad as you can because yes, you can be bad and still have a good life next time. But you wouldn't even try doing that if you understood all the repercussions and all the different spirits and all the different people that you're affecting. So yeah, you may be able to do these certain things, but part of you is going to feel that. And part of you will eventually go through that. And it doesn't just take one lifetime. You think 100 years is a long time. It's not. It's boom, like that. Just like right now, whatever age you are, you're like 20 years ago, just seems like not that long ago. You can think about it real deep and be like, well, that was a long time ago. I don't remember all that. But it really wasn't because you can remember things from when you were a kid. It's just some things stick out more than others. So with the money thing, getting back to that, I at least want to address that to have some kind of subject in this video. Because as I've said, the last thing I want is anybody in the world to have to operate off money. I went 2 years without having a job because I was trying to put my foot down, and I knew that it was more important that I dedicated my time to putting all these things together so I could send them out and, you know, put them off to people or get them out to people. Instead, I had a channel taken down. I have a bunch of stuff removed and banned. I had a bunch of death threats. I've been sent to court. I've been looked at like I was some retard. I was sent to, and no offense to anybody who's mentally retarded, actually, I don't mean it in that way, but I'm not someone who's slowed down. So I'm not some kind of stupid person. And they actually tried to say I was crazy, sent me to somebody to get a psychiatric evaluation, and I have an IQ of over 160. So, and I didn't even try. It was easy. I was thinking, that's what you judge people off of for intelligence quotient? Boy, oh boy, we're missing the mark, man. We live in a world where stupidity is encouraged, unfortunately. And everybody seems to know that, but doesn't care. Why? Because most of them are stupid too. And nothing against them. They can be as stupid as they want to be. Because, hey, it's a world where you can do whatever you want. But if you look around you and see how that's affecting everything, hopefully it'll wake something up in you and you'll be here and start doing something about it. With the money thing, watch some of my other videos because you'll see that I do have valuable information to teach. It's above and beyond value. It's what your soul, what your spirit, what they met here on this planet for. So, feel free to contact me about how to send money. And I just want enough money to pay off the court monthly. And that's it. I don't want anything else. I still want to grow my own food because I don't trust the stores. I know what's going on. And I want to make sure that the stuff that I grow has nutrients, real nutrients, and it's not just some sprayed garbage GMO vegetables and fruits. It's not that the vegan diet or the whole-based or whole food plant-based diet is bad. It's actually great. The issue is the nutrients aren't there because they're being removed so that we can mass produce stuff. We're not meant to speed nature up. We're meant to work with nature at its pace and slow ourselves down. Slowing ourselves down is what healing is. That's how we heal the planet. We stop doing so much at such a fast pace. Time doesn't have to speed up this way. Nature does what it's doing because the universal mind operates in every dimension, not just one. So that universal mind that is operating through us in a go society will keep perpetuating that same cycle. And it'll keep getting faster. And it'll spin out to a big halt really soon. Because we can't overuse something and expect it to just keep running along just great. The cogs in the machine are starting to wear out a little bit. So, I've been talking for 29 minutes now. But the last thing I want to say about this is, no offense to the person who put that out there because, hey, I understand why they think this way. I would have said the same thing to somebody who's saying, I hate money, but I need you to send me money so I can stay out of jail. And that makes me sound like some kind of criminal when I'm here to help everybody. I want to cause no harm, the littlest harm I can to anything possible. And that doesn't seem to be something that people actually like to hear. They think somebody's bullshitting, like I'm trying to get one over on them. And I'm not. I have no intention on doing the wrong thing. All I can do is help now. And that's not in any way that you're going to benefit off of with money. And even if you do for a short period of time, you're going to see that when you die, it meant nothing. And you will understand this when you die. You'll be like, oh, when I die, I'm just going to shut off. You don't just shut off. Going to sleep and dreaming is not like, or going to sleep and not remembering, not having a dream or something like that. And when you wake up in the morning, you'll be like, I shut off for like a bunch of hours and woke back up. That's not how it works when you die. It's just coming back into a new body gives it such a shock. And that little age of time between like newborn and 2 or 3, when you start really establishing newer memories, everything gets changed from who you meet. Because now you set up a new plan for yourself and you come out into a new world and those people speak to you. Your name was called into being and you're going to resonate on a certain way. And through those names and resonations, time will give you your lesson. That's the only reason that time is here. Time is a vehicle for the body being, for the mental being, for the spiritual being. They're just tools of time, of space. There's tools of consciousness. Time is just another tool for us to learn from. It's a technology of its own. So when it comes to the money, I don't want it. But in order to stay out of jail, it's needed. Because if people want real value in their life, if they really want to understand how we save the planet, how we bring our families back together, how we actually learn how to love and feel and care and act properly, that's what I'm offering. And that is worth more than anything that people are doing right now with most of their time, most of their money, most of their effort is going towards meaningless things. So, I love you guys. I really do. I need to vent these things out sometimes because I've been saying, what questions do you guys need answered? I can tell you exactly how things work. They do work that way. It just, people don't understand it. They go, wow, I never saw it that way before. I never thought of that. You weren't meant to. That was my job. And now I'm bringing it to you. I came here for one reason only. Because I even when I was a little kid, I even said it. And I thought as I got older, it was so stupid. But somewhere deep inside me, it still held true. And I knew it. But I felt dumb saying it to other people because, we all go through our things with our friends. We want to fit in. We don't want people to look at us like we're dumb. But I knew that I've always been meant to save this planet. And every other planet I've been on. I've done this. Billions of times. So have you. There's nothing greater or better about me. It's just that I have been to those greater places and I remember them. And I can teach them to you. I can't force you to pay attention if you have a 2-minute, attention span. But I can keep offering it. And because there's very few and far between people who are trying to understand why we're here and they're out there chasing after material things. Because of that, I have to reach out and ask. Because I'm not going to belittle myself and go work some immoral job where I'm being treated like a slave and having my money stole from me. Because, like I said, the money means nothing. All they're doing is using you because you are the product. You are the value. You are the true value. To them, you're the product. But when I say them and us, of course there's a them and us. There's a you and me. We're separated at this moment, at this period of time, in this lifetime. Yeah, we're separated. But we're still all one together on this one big rock, under this one big light, and all those little other gatherings around it. Big, small, whatever. So the reason that I have to ask is because I can't do this if I have to go work some stupid job that means nothing, that does nothing for you. Instead, I'm offering you everything. I just need you to be involved to help you. I'm not going to go out of my way to make one person happy. This applies to everyone and everything. So I don't even put me first. I don't put, I mean, of course I have to have a sound body and a sound mind in order to keep helping. So that I take care of on the level where it's enough. It doesn't have to be any more than that. So please leave comments, leave questions, whether they're good or bad or negative. I'll just do another video answering back and clarify. I mean, I have nothing to do but spend my time teaching. In fact, right after I turn this off, I'm going to do something with this push-pull card geometry because I never got around to it here because it was backwards. So, I will talk to you guys later. Peace. Till next time.